This video is made possible thanks to the EA Creator Network, and also thank you to EA for sponsoring today's video. Really quickly, I just want to remind you guys that you can still use my creator code on both the EA app and thesims.com. If you use code Jessicapie at checkout, it helps directly support me and my channel, as I do earn a small commission fee from your purchase. Please don't feel like you just have to buy packs just to use my code. Just you watching this video is enough support, but if you are in the market for maybe the new Sims DLC or maybe some previous DLCs, I would love you dearly if you did use my code. But if you don't want to use mine, a lot of other Sims creators also do have creator codes, and you could support them as well. A quick thank you to everyone that has used my code so far, and a lot of you tell me in the comments, and I just love you dearly for thinking about me when you buy your Sims packs, and yeah, I do really appreciate your support. But anyway, let's get into the video. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedrunning video, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building the world of Myshuno, which is the mod that we got from the expansion pack of Sims 4 City Living, and I'm going to be building, or renovating I should say, the Grim Reaper's apartment. So this ends up having 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom, and it's built in the area of the city which is called the Arts Quarter. Now, I purposely picked this apartment in particular to build for the Grim Reaper because by default, some of the different apartments that we got in the world of Myshuno have like automatic lock traits to them. So there's traits that are kind of attached to the apartments that you can't remove. And for this one, it is, I think, the only one in the whole entire game that has got the quiet lock type. And I'm thinking the Grim Reaper would probably not want to be living next to a party place. He probably wouldn't want to be living next to people that are throwing parties 24/7. I feel like Grim himself is quite a, you know, he keeps himself to himself kind of guy. And so when it came around to figuring out where I was going to build his apartment, I thought, well, this one by default is meant to be a quiet lot. And so, yeah, why don't I build it here for him? Now, I will say, if you watched my video last week when I built the Grim Reaper's Academy for a cult, you might have had an idea that this video was coming because pretty much the Sims team reached out to me recently and they gave me a bit of a bucket list in collaboration with the new expansion pack, because in case you missed it, we got a new EP last week. This is more Life and Death expansion pack, but with this new expansion pack, one of the gameplay features is your Sims can now have a bucket list, and the Sims team basically reached out to me and said, we want to give you like your own little bucket list but make it build version. So instead of a bucket list like a random thing like, I don't know, go jump out of a plane. That's a bad example. I mean with a parachute. But you know, like go and do like these random things. Do a bucket list version, but for a Sims build. And they reached out to me and they gave me a few different ideas. And one of the ideas was to build the Grim Reaper's apartment. And so I loved that idea. I never build apartments. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that I'm not an apartment girly. I love them, but I like spending time building things structurally. Like I like building buildings and like houses and structures. I love furnishing, don't get me wrong, but yeah, so to build an apartment for the Grim Reaper, for starters, I never build apartments, but then secondly, to then also build something for this scary guy that is meant to basically welcome you into the afterlife. Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say I've never done that before, and I will admit, coming into this build, I was a little bit worried of how it's going to look, because to me the Grim Reaper is the Grim Reaper, you know what I mean, like he's got some sort of significance in the game. So when it actually came around to figuring out what his apartment was going to look like, I was a little bit worried that I won't do it justice. But I mean, it ends up being very Grim Reaper. I mean, you can already see I've placed down some paintings onto the wall and they've already got his face on it, so I feel like from the get-go when you walk in through the front door you can already tell it's going to be quite a gothic apartment. But yeah, I use a lot of the new stuff that we got from the new expansion pack and just saw what I could come up with basically using all this new DLC content, and yeah, just make it a nice little apartment for the Grim Reaper. And he lives currently in the Arts Quarter, and so yeah, I hope you like it. But anyway, besides the point, moving over, as you can see, I did just quickly do the front door entrance into the apartment. I placed down a coat rack and then also some shoes, but then as I was placing them down I felt a little bit silly because Grim Reaper himself, he don't wear shoes, he floats. But for reason purposes, I imagine that he might have a pair of slippers that he maybe like pops on when you get home or something. And then I also placed down a little side table and then some paintings with his face on. But currently over here, as you can see, I've now moved over and I've started decorating the kitchen. Now, this is my second build with the new Life and Death expansion pack. Like I said, I built a Grim Reaper's Academy for cults last week because with the new EP, one of the, I don't want to say main gameplay features because there's a few, but one of the most significant, if you want to put it that way, gameplay features of this new expansion pack is your Sims themselves, if they want to, they can collect souls 9 to 5. You know when your Sims die in the game and he comes and he has his little like speary thing and takes your Sim's soul, your Sims now, if they want to, they can do that. And so my first build using this new expansion pack, I focused on the idea of having some sort of academy, some sort of school to basically train up all the different occults that we've got in The Sims 4 and make it to see who could be in competition with each other, like who is going to be the best occult, being the Grim Reaper. And I love that build so dearly. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a little card on the screen. But with that, I kind of revolved the furnishing on the inside towards all the different occults that we have in the game. So for example, I made it so a vampire could live there alongside with an alien and a mermaid and a spellcaster. And so I was using all the different, kind of like occulty, that sounds really strange, but all the different items that we've got for different occults in the game spread out throughout the whole entire build. And I didn't really solely focus on the new expansion pack. Whereas for this apartment, I tried to use the majority of the stuff that we got from that new EP, because with the new Life and Death expansion pack, we've got a kitchen set, which you can see that I've come in and I've started placing down. But we also got like a bathroom set. The bathroom set is very modern, and I felt like I couldn't use it in last week's build because it just didn't fit the vibe of the academy that I was building. So yeah, for this one, I really tried to focus on basically making this apartment a bit of a showcase for all the new items that we got for the build and buy category. But one of the new things that we did get is this new kitchen set. Now the set itself has kitchen counters and cabinets. It's also then got a matching fridge, which, can I say, the fridge goes underneath the kitchen cabinets. Do you know how happy that makes me? The amount of different fridges that we've got in The Sims 4 where you can't place a cabinet above it because otherwise it will start clipping. It drives me up the wall. But this new fridge, lovely, it sits underneath the cabinets nice and snug. We did then also get a new kitchen sink as well as an oven and a stovetop. And you can see in this kitchen I decided to go for the all dark black marble effect. Now I do like the kitchen counter swatches, but if I'm being honest, I'm not sure how much I'm going to use the other swatches that isn't this black swatch. Because say for example, we've got this lovely brown swatch of the kitchen counters and cabinets, and I really like the cabinet swatch of them, but the kitchen counter swatch, the marble and the kitchen cabinets is just a little bit too, it's a bit leery for my liking. I feel like in certain builds it can work, but just for like the amount I'm going to use it in like a regular day-to-day family suburban home, I'm not sure how much I'm gonna use them. But for this kind of thing, for like a gothic apartment for the Grim Reaper, I mean, it fit quite nicely. But something that I did in the kitchen that I did want to mention, because you might have been able to catch it, I purposely placed down a cat bowl and then also some cat food. Now, I felt like I needed to explain this because basically when I was building, I had a little mini storyline that I was thinking of for the Grim Reaper. And that was basically this guy, he's 9 to 5. Like when he clocks into work, he doesn't clock into an office job. He clocks into work and he goes and collects people's souls for a living, you know. When someone passes away, he gets a call, he goes to their house, he gets their soul, he goes back to office. That's his kind of 9 to 5 kind of job. And I was thinking of maybe one point he went to someone's house to collect their soul, and I was thinking it was an elderly lady, bless her. And I was thinking this old woman had recently adopted a kitten, and I could just picture the scenario of the Grim Reaper, you know, she's curled up on the floor, she's shriveled, and he takes her soul, and then he heard some sort of like meow, and he heard a cat, and then he saw this tiny little black cat kitten in the corner, and he actually has a soul. He couldn't leave it. And so then I had the idea of, well, what about for this one time only, he thought, I'm going to take the cat and I'm going to make the cat live with me and I'm going to adopt it. And so in this apartment, I made it cat friendly. And so I placed down a little food bowl in the kitchen as well as a bag of food. And then you'll see in Grim's bedroom, I made it so the cat itself doing quite alright for himself. They've got a really fancy cat tree, but yeah, I did want to explain that because I know it seems a bit bizarre for the Grim Reaper to have a cat. But I liked the idea for storyline purposes. But either way, moving over, as you can see, I've now moved on into the lounge room. In here, I knew that I needed to use this new fireplace that we got from the expansion pack. I don't think I was able to use it in my build last week, but we got it from the new EP, and it's very gothic. I mean, look at it. It's got a skull on it. How perfect is this fireplace for the Grim Reaper? And so I kind of made it almost like this centerpiece in this lounge room, but also in this room as well, I used one of the new 3-seater sofas that we got from this expansion pack, and it really winds me up because it's a nice sofa. It looks quite similar to one that we've already got from the Cottage Living expansion pack, you know, kind of like a leather Chesterfield sofa, but we didn't get a matching love seat or a matching armchair. We did get a love seat from this new EP, but it's more like the modern side of things rather than like the gothic kind of things. And so I knew I wanted to use it, but I didn't know how I was going to be able to make it make sense into this lounge room. And so instead of using the love seat, which is more modern, I decided to pair it with, in the end, 2 different armchairs. And the ones that I've used, weirdly enough, they look very gothic, but they're from the Lovestruck expansion pack. It's the one that looks like it's got some sort of little like metal detail on the end of the arms. I've currently got one on the left hand side, but shortly you will see I do then also end up placing down a second one. Also in this room as well, I placed down one of the new bookcases from this expansion pack. It sounds so silly talking about bookcase, but I love it. It's so lovely, and it comes in so many nice swatches, and so I popped that down on one side of the fireplace. And then also in this room as well, in front of where them bookcases are, I placed down a crow. With the new expansion pack, one of the new gameplay objects that we got is a bird, basically, and I just felt like a crow is very fitting for the Grim Reaper. And so yeah, he's also got a pet bird and a cat. Actually, how would that work realistically? Do birds and... No, they don't get along, do they? No, they don't get... I'm not a cat person, I'm a dog person, but I've heard stories of people that have got cats and they bring in like birds and random stuff from the garden. But I mean, at least the crow was on a little bit of a pedestal. I don't feel like the cat would be able to reach him, but it's from the new expansion pack and it just felt like it fitted in. And so I popped that down into this room as well. But something I did want to mention, in kind of like the centre of the lounge room, I've currently got this really big coffee table. It's one that we got from the new EP, but unfortunately, when it came around to me playtesting at this apartment, the coffee table was just a little bit too close to the fireplace, then I couldn't get my sim to turn the fireplace on. I did try and shift it around, I did try moving some objects around and tried to push like the sofa back and stuff, but in the end I did have to remove that new coffee table and replace it with one that we got from the Lovestruck EP. But it's alright, because you know the armchairs that I was saying about that are from Lovestruck and they've got kind of like them little metal details on the end of the arms. It's a coffee table that looks like it's meant to match with the armchair. And I would use the same exact clutter objects on the coffee table, but I did just want to mention that in case you did see any difference in the screenshots. It's just because the big coffee table was making it so the fireplace was unusable, and to me, I want the fireplace to actually be usable. But either way, moving over, as you can see, I've now moved on into the next room, which is a very modern, but I love it, bathroom. So in here I use the new freestanding tub that we got from the expansion pack. I also use the new shower and then also the new bathroom sink. We did get a kitchen sink as well as a bathroom sink. I didn't use the kitchen sink in this build just because I wasn't a massive fan of how the gold marbly effect was on the kitchen sink, but for the bathroom sink, no, I really like it. And you'll see as well shortly in a second, and again, I feel like I need to explain it, I end up placing down some teeth onto the sink, which this sounds really silly, but again, when I was building, I was thinking of like a storyline purpose of maybe the Grim Reaper is old. We don't know how old he actually is. I'm not sure if there is actually any lore in the game that can tell us how old this guy is, but he's getting on a bit. He's been around for hundreds of decades, I imagine. And so I was just thinking, he probably hasn't got that many teeth left. On the inside of his mouth, it's probably gummy. And so I was thinking, well, maybe he wants to have this really big scary approach. I know normally he wears a hood and you actually can't see his face, but I imagine that the very few people that do see his face, or if ever for some reason he might need to take his hood off and he needs to scare someone, he wants to have some sort of like scary teeth to kind of scare off someone. And I just thought it'd be really fun to have some fake teeth that maybe in the morning he pops in when he goes into the bathroom, and so I placed down a little glass with some fake teeth on the inside of it. But as well as that in the bathroom as well, I placed down a vampire game pack toilet. We didn't get a new toilet from this expansion pack. We got like a bathtub, a shower and a sink, but no toilet. which I know a lot of people might look at that as if, oh, it's not a complete set. But to be honest with you, do we really need any more toilets in The Sims 4? Like, we've got toilets that can talk to you. We've got toilets that can set on fire, if you fancy. And we've got so many different versions of toilets. I feel like a lot of time with Sims DLCs, we will get a new picnic table, a new toilet. Like, what's the purpose? We've already got how many in the game, and so we didn't get a new toilet, and so for his bathroom I decided to use one that we got from the Vampires DLC. But currently in here, as you can see, I'm just coming in and pretty much just finishing up his home office. I must admit, I kind of struggled with this room because I didn't really know what would the Grim Reaper have in his home office, and so I started off by using the new computer desk that we got from this DLC. It's the one that's got the computer on it, obviously, but then also I matched it with a new chair, and then on one side of it I placed down this red filing cabinet. Again, confused why we got that from the expansion pack. Grateful for it, because beforehand we'd only got one filing cabinet decoration in the whole entire game, and it's from the Get to Work expansion pack, and I feel like whenever I do home offices I always use them. It's like one of them things that is just a go-to in home offices, and so I am grateful that we've got another one. And so yeah, I popped that into his home office. I then also placed down another little bookcase, but it's much shorter and skinnier, and then also a chess table. But now moving over, you can see that I've now moved on into the last room, which is his bedroom. So in here I use another one of them chairs that I use in the lounge room, but I use it in a different swatch. I think at one point I might debate switching the colour, but that chair, again, is from the Lovestruck expansion pack. It's very gothic, and I feel like it kind of fits the Life and Death EP better than the Lovestruck, but regardless, grateful for it because I used it in this build quite a few times. But then I also placed down this new chest of drawers that we got from the expansion pack, and then I popped on some candle decorations. I popped on a little like flower fake grass thing, and then I sized down a little tiny, I think it's meant to be like a fairy statue or something. We got it from the Vampires game pack, but I made it really small and made it seem like it was some sort of ornament on his like little chest of drawers area. And then above that as well, I placed down one of the new paintings that we got from this DLC in like the lower portion of his bedroom. I didn't really know what to place down because at the end of the day, it was just kind of like a bit of a walkway to get to his bed, and I wanted there to be some sort of shown significance of this is where the Grim Reaper sleeps, you know? And so this is why I did his bed section on a little bit of a platform, because to me, it makes it seem a little bit more formal, a little bit more fancy. But you kind of go up the stairs and then we have his bed. Now I used one of the new beds that we got from the new expansion pack. We did get two. One of them is a little bit more modern than this one, but this one, it's very Grim Reaper-y, and you'll see shortly in a second. I then decided to place down some curtain decorations, which honestly, I didn't even know we had in the game. They're from the Lovestruck expansion pack, but they're not classed as curtains. It's classed as a wall decoration, but you know, I placed it down behind the bed, and it just feels very formal, and it just felt very fitting for the Grim Reaper. But other than that, I'm pretty much going to go around this room, finish it off, and that is pretty much it. So anyway guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My gallery ID is JessicapieYT, or just search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. Once again, thank you to EA or The Sims for sponsoring this video, and as always, if you guys do like my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedrunning video. Bye guys.